Hi, everybody. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday evening. I'm certified broadcast meteorologist Erica Martin, and we're going to go over the weather across the nation. There's a lot happening right now. Allow me to just adjust this a little bit there. Just make sure we have a really great look at everything that's happening. So right now we are in the Weather Co-op studio coming to you from the beach house in Santa Monica. Good times here, good vibes. Just such a great place to just give you all things weather. So coming up in just a bit, Jay will go over the tracking the tropics forecast, which of course does include Hurricane Hone. I'm going to go over everything in the contiguous U.S., as if I could say that, contiguous U.S. Yes, so we're going to go over that here right now over the next couple of minutes. We'll probably do a 10-minute little spurt and then come back and do another 10-minute spurt. But right now, I think this is really fascinating. If you are following us on our Weather Co-op platforms at Weather Co-op, WEATHERCO-OP, make sure you follow us across our platforms, including, yes, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and X, I think I didn't say. Okay, to X. So, and then of course, download the app. Now, some of you have the beta, some of you don't. You guys have been through this with me a few times before, but here's the thing with the app. Because we've added something so cool. Like this could really just, you guys, okay, understand where I am. Hi guys on Insta. Hi guys. Hi. Okay, so we're doing a live and if you guys are on our Weather Co-op pages, you can see all of the graphics we're about to go through, including what's happening with the monsoonal flow, which by the way, monsoon season, according to National Weather Service, ends September 30th, right? So mid-June until end of September. So we're going to go through that because there's a lot happening with that monsoonal flow. I mean, Wyoming's getting hammered right now. Colorado, Utah got a lot, especially with that wind pattern we were talking about on Friday. We were talking about how there was going to be an issue with the winds. Utah got slammed, Intermountain West, Great Basin. So the monsoonal flow affects the Four Corners, the desert Southwest, and what we're seeing right now is a lot of rain. But I was saying to you guys, hey, follow us across all of our platforms, but also download our app and just wait. Just wait. Like I can't even, like I imagined something and I thought that this weather app was going to be the coolest thing since Wonder Bread, right? I mean, I'm older, I'm Gen X, so Wonder Bread. But like, honestly, like I have been so blown away by what this app looks like. So you guys download it, beta, etc., etc. All right, let's get started. So we're talking about what's happening across the Four Corners. We're talking about that monsoonal influence. I'm going to be looking at a couple of screens right now, the way we have everything set up. And don't forget, we've got all of our swag. So we've got the red hat, the red trucker hat, the white one, and the green. So if you are a Boston Celtics fan, this one's for you. And Arizona Cardinals. See, we love everybody here. So we just jive with everybody. Okay, so we're looking again at our graphics here on Weather Co-op. I'm going to go through our Futurecast, our hour-by-hour Weather Co-op Futurecast. But right now we're doing our 2-hour satellite and radar loop, including weather alerts. I'm going to highlight a couple of things here. But the most intriguing thing, I think, right off the bat is this monsoonal flow, right, and this pattern. Of course, we have to look at our heat problems as well, moving through portions of the Midwest, the UP getting just, I mean, clobbered by heat. And that's going to unfortunately continue to be a story. I'm actually going to go ahead and quickly add our wind particles so that you guys can see what's happening with the wind. The winds tell us such a big story. Like, I am so passionate about the wind. Like, I kind of wish my mom had named me Windy. Like, I love that name. I love wind because wind tells you so much. Like, wind will give you an indication of where an area of high pressure might be, an area of low pressure might be, where pressure gradients are tightening, where there might be a jet streak or something of that nature. So I always say, like, the wind howls, like, listen to the wind. The wind is so cool. It gives us so much. So if you're following us on our platforms, Weather Co-op, you're going to see a lot of wind barbs or wind vectors, okay? So the wind, what you're looking at is the direction from which it's coming, right? So if you see like those little barbs, like the vectors are coming up towards the north, they're actually coming in from the south. So it's a southerly wind, right? And then we're going to go towards the north. So that's pretty much happening here. We have this tropical influence, right? No surprise, we are tracking the tropics. So all of that warm, moist air filtering up towards the north, and there's just a really interesting battle of air masses that sometimes we speak about. Generally, I mean, but for the most part, that's the case here. So I want to take one quick look at something because I don't want to get off of what we have going on here. So, okay. We have our monsoonal influence. If you look at what's happening over the desert southwest or the Four Corners, right? So you see Wyoming is getting clobbered there with lots of rain. It looks like they have thunderstorm alerts, and they also have some warnings. So let's go ahead and zoom into what's happening. We're going to go from west to east. And then again, coming up in just a bit, Jay will have your updates on Hurricane Hone and how it's affecting Hawaii. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off our radar, right? Because what we want to do here is we want to see what are these alerts. And then we'll add on everything as we kind of just put this together, this little puzzle that we call weather. All right, so let's highlight some of these items here, including, of course, our severe thunderstorm watches. So remember, severe thunderstorm watches are in pink. The warnings are in yellow. Now, generally speaking, I might rush here and say, all right, let me look at my severe thunderstorm warning. I didn't see a couplet. I didn't see anything that was like, okay, I should focus on this first. But the reason I'm going to the severe thunderstorm watches is because it's covering a larger area. And then I'll get into that right there. This looks interesting. Hang tight, guys. Hang tight. Okay, flash flood warning. All right. Okay. All right, so we're going to get into this in one moment. Allow me to just... Okay, so flash flood warning that has been issued as well. But let's go ahead and just start off with like this wider look here. Flash flood warnings are always really important. And when you're thinking about the priority or the hierarchy of weather, anything that has to do with flooding will generally come first. But sometimes heat will supersede that, and it's on a kind of as the weather occurs basis. We're also seeing a lot of surface wind, so a lot of maybe troughs, elongated areas of low pressure that will then generate their own little like micro weather pattern there, so microclimates as we refer to them. Very interesting. This looks like a flash flood warning happening in eastern Utah. Let me go ahead and check this off here. And so we have a flash flood warning. Okay, so this one's in southern Grand County, east central Utah, northern San Juan County, and southeastern Utah. 5:26 p.m. Doppler indicated thunderstorm producing heavy rain across Mill Creek, North Mill Creek, Moab, above Moab, Spanish Valley, between, just about a half an inch of rainfall have fallen, and we're expecting rainfall rates to be 1 to 2 inches per hour in these warned areas. Like, let me be very clear. When you see a flash flood warning, I am a Skywarn storm spotter. I'm certified meteorologist. I never play around with floods. I don't care if it's a flood watch. I don't do floods. I don't do anything that has to do with flooding. It's a no joke kind of situation. So right now, when I was first in Utah forecasting back in 2020, one of the worst things I saw was like, people don't take these flash flood warnings seriously. And let me tell you, it was a really horrific situation, especially when you talk about the national parks, right? Like Zion National Park. You better look at these flash flood warning that's being issued right now for east central Utah, right? So that's what we're seeing here in that deep burgundy. I'm going to undo this quickly, and you can see that we have our severe thunderstorm watches that have been issued as well for portions of the Great Basin, Four Corners, Intermountain West. People, in this case, it's really the Intermountain West and portions of, the Great Basin. Yeah, there you go. And then we have this flash flood watch, or this flood watch that has been issued for that same area. So I just want to make sure that I'm breaking that up, and that has to do with that monsoonal flow here. And what's interesting is if you're following us on our Weather Co-op pages, do you see the wind profile right here? Right above, I'm going to zoom in, right, so we can see what we're talking about. It's right above Moab, right? So you know that Moab, a lot of people go there this time of the year. They love seeing really beautiful features, but let me tell you, you do not want to get caught out there in Moab with these flash flood warnings, right? It's just not a good thing at all. Hold on. Let me just make sure. I'm just doing a little bit of something. Okay, so hiking the Mary Jane Slot Canyon, for example, I've never done it, but I know a lot of people that have. You want to be sure you are not here. You don't want to be anywhere where you're in a slot canyon and there's a flash flood warning or a flood watch that has been issued at all. Because this is just saying that you have, look at the winds too. Hold on, I'm going to put something on there. This, guys, I'm going to add our radar so we can take a look. This has to be something, there we go. So I'm also going to go ahead and see what our storm tracking shows us. We're going to add some items on here and see if we can pick anything up. Alrighty, so you can see here, I'm going to pause this over the I'm going to go last hour, right? So I'm going to take this last 15 minutes, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go last 15 minutes, and I want to know, hey guys, let's take a look at what's happening as far as these storm cells go over the last 15 minutes and give us a return. And we can see that the storm cells would have already moved to the east, right? If we go back a half an hour, let's see what it gives us as far as our returns go. Oh, one more time. Sorry about that. My bad. Hold on. Hang tight, guys. I went on to the wrong graphic. Okay, we're going to zoom on in again one more time. And we're going to go over Utah. So sorry for this little bit of delay. Do you see the line of storms that are continuing to move eastward, right? So now they're in Colorado. So that's an indicator that these are really fast moving storm cells, right? So when they tell you flash flood warning, it's imminent. It's like fast. It's now. You want to get out of the way. You want to reach higher ground. If you're driving in that direction, stop and reroute. You don't want to be there because look at how fast these storm cells are moving. So it's oftentimes it's timing. It's like really fast and a lot of water in a short amount of time as these storm cells migrate very quickly. So in this case, they're going like an east-northeast, and that's because of the monsoonal influence. So remember, monsoonal influence is anticyclonic, and when I say anticyclonic, you've got to say, oh, it's clockwise. It's a clockwise circulation. Hey, Dave Velez! You helped us so much last week with all of your flood coverage. You did such a great job. Thank you so much to our weather watcher, Dave Velez from Connecticut. You guys are getting some storms there. It looks like in eastern Connecticut. But yeah, whenever we're talking about this monsoonal influence, it's from June to the end of September. You're seeing an anticyclonic or a high pressure system that's going clockwise. When we say cyclonic in the northern hemisphere, we're saying counterclockwise, and that's an indicator of a low pressure system, right? You're welcome. And then in the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite, right? So in this case, we're looking at that flash flood warning that was issued right around Moab. You all know this time of the year, people love to be there to hike the slot canyons. Don't do it. And if you know somebody who's there now, tell them to get out. This is not funny. Okay, so now those storm cells are just east of Moab, and now we're going to continue to look to see what's happening here. I'm not going to use our wind profile just yet, but I'll show you in just one moment. Okay, let's just zoom out just a little bit here. Do you see all these little brown, like these little kind of tan quadrants, right? Whether it's like a rhombus or like a square. Do you see that these are all like in this tan color? So let me go ahead and highlight this. And let's see what it tells us. It's going to be a special weather statement. Generally speaking, when you see something on these maps that's like that beige color, right? It'll be an indicator that we have a special weather statement. And in this case, it's probably going to be something like the potential for some flooding, right? So let's remove our radar. Let's do a quick query, and let's just go ahead and update you guys. So strong thunderstorm will impact central Rio Grande, south central Sagosh and northwestern Conejos counties through 8 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, right? So at 7:18 p.m., Doppler radar was indicating a strong thunderstorm, which I would gather that would have been those line of storms that were just moving past east central Utah, right, including Blanding and Moab. I'm assuming this one over here is the same thing. Radar indicated strong outflow winds of 40 to 60 miles. Ooh, we were talking about this, the confluence and difluence the other day. So we were saying that the confluence, the winds converging coming up, right? And then when they come down, they're going to spread out. That's difluence, right? So that means that the winds are coming apart or the winds are coming together. So converging. Hi, Simeon. How are you? Tell your mom we said hi from Weather Co-op. We have a hat for you guys right there. You got to pick which one. All right, we got green, we got white, we got red. You might like the red one. I feel like it's like peppy like you. Okay, so yes, strong outflow winds from weakening showers impacting. So I want you guys to picture this, weakening, right? So all that wind, all that, the winds, everything goes up, right? It has nowhere to go but up, right? This is like that profile I was talking about. So once the thunderstorm starts to die and crashes, it pretty much just comes down. And that's where you get your outflow winds. So things like microbursts, those would be like an indicator that there's just like everything is crashing, like that thunderstorm is pretty much coming down. So we want to track those because I would highly guess here, an educated guess, that we might see wind damage, right? So this will be the concern here. Let's go ahead and add our wind particles. I think this will be an interesting feature to add on right now. We'll say, well, let's see here. Alrighty, so do you see the tubes of air, and do you see how they're kind of sporadic? Like some of them are coming in from like a southerly push, some are southeasterly, some are southwesterly, and then others are westerly, and you're seeing those tubes of air. So I would say there has to be something around there, probably a trough that's disturbing something. At 300 millibars or 250 millibars, we'll look at things like a jet streak, like embedded jet streaks, and that'll tell me like, hey, something's happening higher up. But because this wind is a surface wind, if you're following us on Weather Co-op, because this is a surface wind, this has to be something that's at the surface, near or at about 850 millibars, maybe, is what we're going to look at. I would probably guess, my guess, right, educated guess, that it would be a trough. And you can tell because of the stretching, right, the stretching of the tube of air. When you see that, it's not very organized, so it's not going to be a low pressure system with an organized central low pressure. No, it's going to be something that's more elongated. Very messy, like it's almost very messy, if you will. So you got to look at that, right? Like some people be like, oh, no, you want to look at that, especially if it's at the surface, especially in an area like Colorado where you're seeing mountainous terrains, right? So you don't want to be on the other side. You got orographics, right? You got lifting there. So orographic weather, orographics, kind of the broad term there, it would be like that the mountainous terrains has something to do with the weather, right? Whether it's like a down, like the wind is coming down, it would speed up and become a lot stronger. So this is why they're putting that there. I think this is an interesting update. I'm also going to quickly go up to Wyoming because this was another issue that we saw there with the severe thunderstorm warning. That's in yellow. You guys know that already. I've told you that a bunch of times, but make sure you know this. Yellow is severe thunderstorm warning. Pink is severe thunderstorm watch. You have to know these. These are no joke. And even SoCal, Southern Californians, be aware. We had that La Nina season. Be aware as those storms come in. You want to know the difference between a flood watch, a flash flood warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, a severe thunderstorm watch, okay? Those are all really important as we start to see the weather start to turn and change. And you guys are going to be really excited about the modeling I'm going to use. Oh my gosh, I have a secret sauce. Anytime the weather turns from winter to spring, I use a particular model that I absolutely love. And then from summer to fall, there's another weather model that I absolutely love. It was a secret that one of my old meteorologist friends of mine who worked with me in Connecticut, his name is Quincy Vagel, really great meteorologist. Like we kind of just like, came up with this little thing, and it's always worked ever since I've started using it, like years ago. I won't say how long, but a long time ago. I'm a Gen Xer. Okay, so we say that. Okay, so once again, we have the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. We have the concern for rain. We also have the concern for really strong wind gusts, radar indicated, damages to roofs, sidings, and trees. We know this all the time. Anytime we see this concern for wind, we know what wind can do. Just be really aware. Be prepared in case something happens, all right? So this is an affect of what's happening with the monsoonal flow. See, so now what we did was we left the winds on, we added the radar, And now you see everything that's happening. I'm going to remove the clouds because we're like, do we want to see clouds right now? Not necessarily. As much as I love clouds and I love to take a look at them, not what I want to see right now. I want to just I want to stick to a few items, which include the radar, the warnings, and the winds. And I might even pull the winds off in just one moment. Hey, you guys, let's see. We are seeing another severe thunderstorm warning. We've got to make sure that we're looking at the Dakotas. So now we're going to the northern central plains. So see all the heat that we're seeing moving through the central plains. I would not be surprised if here we start to see in Kansas, if we start to see some alerts, severe thunderstorm alerts issued. And do you see this area right here? Let's hone on in this town. We are in South Dakota, Forbes, South Dakota. Do you see the severe flash flood warning that has been issued? Also, who else has one? Landing Creek, Ola. Okay, this is a very copious storm. And you see how the winds are behaving and how they're kind of the outflow. So this is going to tell me that we have the concern for really strong wind speeds, right, wind gusts, outflow winds, right, like really strong outflow winds. And we also have really, really potent storms with lots of water. Let's see here what the rainfall rates are. Oh, God, these got to be, oh, my gosh, over 1.25 inches per hour. Wow, these are really, really copious storms. So you can see moving through Landing Creek, Platte, South Dakota, Ola, Chamberlain, Plankinton. These are really strong storms. If you have friends and family in that region, make sure you advise them. Oh my gosh, this is over 5.5 inches of rainfall per hour. Okay, let's zoom on in. Okay, this has to be like we've got to have some serious situations going on here. Crow Creek and Chamberlain, South Dakota. And then do you see how the winds are going out? Okay, so now we're seeing that there's going to likely be wind damage, right? These are really strong storms, but we also have lots of rain. So Kimball, Red Lake, and let's look at that rainfall rate one more time. Over 1.25 inches per hour. Let's see here, right over Crow Creek. There we go. Over almost 2.75 inches of rainfall per hour. That's the rainfall rate with a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. And let's go ahead and take a look at that severe thunderstorm warning and get some ideas here about what we're seeing. Rainfall rates are pretty strong. We're also seeing that outflow wind. I'm going to remove our radar. I'm also going to remove our wind particle. And we're going to get an update here as to see what we have going on. So severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Han County, central South Dakota, southeastern High County in central South Dakota, eastern Lyman County in central South Dakota, Buffalo County in central South Dakota until 9:15 p.m. CDT. So looks like a severe thunderstorm was located over Crow Creek. We just talked about that, over a house, or 11 miles southeast of Fort Thompson, moving north at 20 miles per hour. So we just said that. Radar indicated hail damage to vehicles expected. Expect wind damage, as we just said. So that's what the issue is right now. I'm going to go to a different graphic right now because I have these set up for something absolutely different. We're going to zoom on in, and let's see what we have as far as this one item that I need to take a look at here. All right, I want to see. Okay, so now this is moving up towards the UP through North Dakota, Rapid City, seeing some issues there, Casper, Wyoming, Denver, Colorado, Kansas, seeing some really strong storms. But you know what's interesting is, oh, I see what I did here, Erica. So one of the things that we always focus on at Weather Co-op is that we have like this opportunity to do like your niche forecasting and kind of like your couture forecasting. I know there's nothing couture, but I suppose so, because we want to know what you want and we want to cater it to your needs. We're going to go back up to South Dakota because this is where the most interesting weather is. I might add something different here because I want to see if we had the potential for anything stronger than this severe thunderstorm. Okay, so we're going to take a quick look here and we're going to see what's happening. Why is this all going on right now? I'm going to go ahead and just say that, with everything, with our surface analyses, we are definitely seeing some kind of a trough, definitely some kind of surface disturbance. Let's put our wind particles back on. Did you guys see that? Did you guys just see that? Do you see the outflow? Do you see that right now? Are you insane? Like, wow. So right now, what we're seeing is the real threat for wind damage. I am going to have to check something else really quickly. I hate to change that graphic. Jay needs it. He's coming up after this to do hurricane tracking. But, so no, not now. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at what we need right now. Okay, yeah, so we're definitely seeing some huge issues over Huron, South Dakota, Pierre, Winter. Let's see, who else? It looked like it was Chamberlain. Crow Creek, you guys are getting slammed. I'm very surprised that we're not seeing any reports right now. Let me highlight this to see what we could be getting as far as reports go. Events. Let's see what's happening here. No reports yet. I'm very surprised because this is a ton of rain happening right now, right over Crow Creek. Let's see if we can get our... Okay, so precipitation rate is just about 2 3/4 of an inch per hour. That is a lot of rain in a short amount of time. And look at how fast these storm cells. This one particular storm cell is wreaking havoc. A little troublemaker. This guy's just charging right through Crows Creek, and Chamberlain, Reliance, Kimball as well. And we are definitely seeing some big issues as far as a really strong storm cell with some strong outflow winds. Very strong outflow winds. Very surprised that we don't have any reports yet of any wind damage. So let's just zoom on in here really quickly and see. I'm going to pull... Hey, Chloe's here with us right now. I forgot she was here. Okay. Normally I don't forget what my dog is, but I guess I'm so into the weather. I mean, she's here. It's nice and cool. It doesn't matter. Okay, storm tracks. Let's see if we can see what's going on here. Let's try to pick up all these. Like, let's make sure we don't have anything that's like mezzo, like an indicator of anything early. Let's just see what we have. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a problem. I'm gonna like make sure that we have that. See what we're looking at in Chamberlain, South Dakota, Fort Thompson, Elvira, Plummer, Wessington Springs, Patton, Plankinton, Torrey Lake, Iona, Platte. I think I said already. Silver Creek, Butler. This guy is hustling. Huron, and then there's another storm cell just to the north of it. This is a strong one. It's moving towards Redfield, South Dakota. Yeah, these are really strong storms right now. So we're going to have to sit and watch these for a little bit. We'll babysit these for just a little bit. Let's head over to the heat, right? Let's go to the heat quickly. Then we'll come back to that because we got to keep an eye on that. That's just, it's too, they're too strong right now. We want to make sure nothing will go tornadic. And that people are aware that South Dakota right now, you guys are experiencing some serious weather. It was Crows Creek, Chamberlain, was it Elvira? Okay, now let's look quickly at our heat issues that we're seeing for portions of the Midwest, the upper Midwest. We talked about that on Friday, how that was going to be a big thing. Center of the nation would be really, really hot. Either coast would be much cooler than normal or much cooler than we had been experiencing over the past couple of weeks. And this is going to continue, unfortunately, for the next couple of days. We also have air quality concerns. Oftentimes, they will go hand in hand with anything like heat related. Often, sometimes, other issues. But yeah, in this case, we have, these can definitely be pegged with that heat, just very stale. We have that area of high pressure, locks things in. So we're going to watch that very closely for you too. Although we also have air quality concerns for Idaho, for portions of Wyoming. It looks like northwestern Wyoming. And Georgia, Tennessee also having some issues. Missouri also having some issues. Portions of Kansas also having some issues with air quality concerns. And you'll see in that gray color there, that's an indicator of our air quality issues. These little storm cells, have been kind of charging along over in the Northeast for the past couple of hours. They've been getting some really strong storms there. So you can see this one's dumping some hail, and the impact right now is about 0 to 2.5. So we definitely have some hail that's being dumped over portions of my home state of Connecticut. So let's just take a quick look to see who it is, and what they're getting dumped on, like what's happening there. So New Milford, Litchfield, Salisbury, and excuse me, this is a 2.6 to 5.0 impact range. Okay, so these are larger. These are probably quarter size hail, right? So something to keep in mind. Torrington, shout out to Torrington. Sharon. So these cells are moving quickly through Plymouth, New Britain, Simsbury, Waterbury. Shout out to Waterbury, Meriden, New Britain, Oxford. Yep. Okay, so there we go. These are really strong storm cells. Just be mindful of that. You could get some hail damage that could impact you. And we'll go back to those storm cells that are moving through South Dakota right in just one moment. But I quickly want to show you our current temperatures across the nation, and then we will get back to those strong storm cells that are moving through the Dakotas right now. So we have lots of 70s up and down the eastern seaboard. We've got 72 for Boston, all the way to about 78 in Charleston, Jacksonville at 80, Montgomery 84, Atlanta 81, Mobile 82, along with New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi 87 degrees, along with Little Rock, Memphis a pair of 8s, Indianapolis and Louisville 84 degrees, 2 degrees warmer for Chicago, Green Bay 79, Minneapolis in the low to mid 80s, 90s for Des Moines, 96 for Omaha, Kansas City 93. We talked about that, right? We said heat for the Midwest, upper Midwest. You guys are definitely feeling the heat. I mean, it's 7:46 there, and the heat is not backing up, right? It's not gonna die down, and it's gonna be the case for tomorrow as well. So those of you who wanted some nighttime relief, not gonna be the case. Look at that really strong southerly influence. So please be mindful. Make sure you stay hydrated, stay in a cool area, and please be really wise when it comes to heat safety. Wichita 93, Oklahoma City 91 degrees, Dallas 92, Amarillo 80. We've got 90s for Odessa and Stiles, a pair of 8s for Houston, Corpus Christi 86 degrees, Sioux Falls 87 degrees, Rapid City. So South Dakota, you guys got some crazy weather going on right now. We're going to track that for you in a minute. But your Rapid City is 81 degrees, Bismarck 82, Scottsbluff 77, Denver 80. We have Salt Lake City at 74 degrees, Thermopolis at 76 with rain. We have 78 for Billings, 77 for Whitebird, Boise 76, Reading 86. Hello, Seattle. Portland, I'm like binge watching Portlandia again. I don't know what it is about Portlandia. I can watch it a million times. I can really just watch Portlandia so many times, and it's just the most entertaining, best show ever created. San Francisco 73, Los Angeles 72, San Diego 76, Phoenix, woo, caliente 105. Oh my gosh, so hot. Uy. Very hot there, and yeah, and so conditions are going to remain warm for the Midwest, upper Midwest as well. Look at that southerly. You see that southerly flow there? It's just not giving up. It's not backing up at all. And that's very interesting. If you look right over Nebraska, do you see those little winds battling it out? The little, like how they're kind of tubing up, and you see how like that little disturbance there is kind of elongated. Very interesting. Let's drop a radar over that and see what's happening. Yeah, you guys are getting slammed up there in South Dakota. Let's go back. Yeah, this has to be... Okay, so now we're seeing those severe thunderstorm watches that have expanded. We're also seeing more flash flood warnings for portions of South Dakota. And then we're also seeing that severe thunderstorm warning area also expanding. Gosh, that's got to be like, what, 2 3/4, maybe even more of rainfall rate? 5.5 inches per hour rainfall rate. Oh my gosh. So... we're talking about, let's zoom on in and let's see who exactly, well, we've been saying Chamberlain for the past couple of minutes now. Fort Thompson, we talked about that. Elvira as well. These are really strong storms. So we are tracking that right now because the concern that we have here with any type of issue like this is the threat of flooding, right? And people drowning, and that's just what we don't want. But yeah, severe weather statements have been issued, and so we're gonna watch that very closely. This storm cell has been quite strong, really has been. So we're going to see what this is going to do now. We're going to keep an eye on it for a little while, and then we're going to go to the rest of the nation. Yeah. So we also looked at this storm cell that was up here moving towards Watertown, just south of Aberdeen, Millette, Redfield. I don't see these being super like dangerous. Well, anytime you get a lot of rain in a short amount of time, because these are fast moving cells, and that's the thing. You might say, well, they're not strong cells, Erica, but they're fast. And so if you get a lot of rain, like we just saw a rainfall rate of over 5.5 inches per hour. If you get that like in a couple of minutes, you're definitely going to experience some flooding, right? So that's what we're watching right now. We're taking a look at that. We're taking a look at these really strong cells, and it was Chamberlain, Crows Creek, Plummer, Fort Thompson, Elvira. They've got to have some damage in Chamberlain. I'm sorry. Let me do a quick look here. They have to, because that's just way too much rain. That's just like pretty much impossible to not have something either flooding or wind damage. Chamberlain, South Dakota. Okay, they've got to have something going on right now. Let's see if there's any reports. See what's happening. Nothing yet. I don't see anything reported just yet, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and just remove this and do some of our own research. Let's go to Fort Thompson and see. This has to be Doppler indicated. Let's see. Thunderstorm was located and quarter size hail, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, radar indicated. So I think I've said this to you before. It's one thing to say, like, I see a thunderstorm, it's moving over us. But now this is saying that the Doppler radar is picking it up, and there are signatures we want to look at for a more aggressive storm. In this case, this is a fast moving storm. It's dumping a lot of water in a short amount of time. So this is why this one, and you see how it's blinking? Do you guys look at it right now? If you guys are watching us on our Weather Co-op page, you see how it's blinking? We're going to wait for the latest update because we want to make sure that we keep you guys abreast. This is so important. This is what we do here at Weather Co-op, where weather meets community. We give you guys updates ASAP. We don't mess around here because I just know oftentimes in these cases, these storm cells, you just might think like, oh, it's just a storm cell. Like, no. This is a little bit stronger than that. Might not go tornadic, right? But we definitely want to know. Let's look at our local storm reports. Here we go. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Okay. Let's try and get some storm reports here. Oh no, my computer froze. Let's see. Give me a minute, guys, while I just go through this. Okay, it froze for a minute. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Not a problem. A lot of times when you've got like all this stuff coming in, you'll have to just like refresh a graphic or something. Yeah, this is a really bad storm. You guys, this one's like dumping so much water. I'm just so curious. Right over Fort Thompson, over 5.5 inches of rainfall per hour. Let's zoom in on the town. Let's see who it is exactly. Okay, so we know we have Fort Thompson, we have Chamberlain, we have Crow Creek, sorry. Who else do we have here? Elvira. We could just go off and go street by street. Let's see, if you guys, we can try that as well. But I think that we might be better served keeping this on this wider view here, because this storm cell is dumping tons of water, and let's see what the winds look like. And the winds are really strong. So we're not seeing that strong outflow, right, of winds. To the east of it, actually, just over Viola and Patton, right? Belford, Wessington Springs, Kimball, Lyon. You guys are getting a little bit, do you see how the wind just kind of burst out to the ground? So it's like coming out and just flowing out. That would tell me that we have really strong winds there, maybe like 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So we want to watch that for you. But if you look to the northwest around Fort Thompson, Crow Creek, Marlar, Como, you will see that the concern there is a really strong and fast moving storm cell with lots of water, lots of rain, okay? So heavy rain in a short amount of time, okay? So let's see if we can find our local storm reports. get some of these right here. Alrighty. Okay. Events. Let's see here. Last. Okay. We're just going to go to like wind. We want to go to our storm reports, okay? That's what we want to do right now. Just take a quick. There we go. So are you guys looking? So if you're following us on our weather co-op pages across our social platforms, you can see all of the wind damages we were just talking about. No surprise here, at least as far as I'm concerned, simply because I could see how aggressive those storms were, and they were fast storm cells. So they're still getting dumped on. Lots of rain, lots of flood damage. Looks like some wind damage down trees as well. Probably some down power lines. I'm going to show you something else. Let's see if I can pick this contour up. I'm going to pull off our watches, our radar, and look, what's this contour here? Okay, we're going to pull off our clouds as well. And I'm actually going to pull up a really interesting product. And let me see if I can look at this. So this is our absolute vorticity product. So this is what we're going to want to look at to see, like, could anything go tornadic? Not the case here. Still doesn't mean it won't cause a lot of damage because we can see tons of wind damage and tons of rain in a short amount of time, right? But we want to look at something. Let's see. We have our SIN value, energy helicity index, power outage index. That's what we want to see. We want to see what the chances are for a power. There we go. That's what I was looking at, because we saw down trees. We saw really strong winds, really strong outflow winds. We saw really strong gusts, right? So now we're looking at the potential for power outage right now, right? So it looks like, yes, we likely have some power outage. We likely do, especially here where we're seeing down trees. Walnut Grove, Highlands, South Dakota, New Holland, rather, South Dakota. That looks like that's where the report was. Joubert, Joubert, New Holland, that's where it was reported. Okay, let's see what happens here. Public reporting, 1-inch tree limbs broken and shingles have been blown off, okay? So, thunderstorm wind damage reported. Let's see what this is here. Wind gusts also. This was posted on our Mesonet wind plot. So that's good to know. That's where we can refer to all these, because a lot of times you want to attribute these. We're really good. Like, we make sure that when this is a report, we always fact check it. Like, you just can't put up all these reports. Things like your tornadoes, and you have to make sure that the National Weather Service comes in, assesses the situation. Like, nobody else can say it was a tornado unless they come in and they assess the situation. But I wanted to see the threat of power outage across portions of South Dakota. It's like eastern South Dakota. Let's see, Watertown, Huron, Artesian, Salem. There's a really strong storm cell. Let's go ahead and put a radar over that and see how. Okay, so do you see how, like, the storm cells are kind of paralleling the power outage potential, right? And increasing right around Artesian, Mitchell. Who else? I'm going to see what this town is called. Butler and Plano, South Dakota. Beaver. Who else? Ravenna. Yeah, this guy right here. Who are these people right here? Who is this town? So somewhere just north of Mitchell, west of Hanson, southwest of Plano, southeast of Loomis, South Dakota. Beulah, east of Beulah. Potential power outage due to these storm cells that are moving through really fast, really strong. Lots of precipitable water, and really just strong. So you're seeing your wind damages there. Heavy rain as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. We're also seeing reports of hail, 1 inch in diameter. So this is a really big hail size. Okay. So remember, you know what? Let's put on another product. If we're seeing all that hail there, let's look at our VIL product, because this will actually give us some really good information as well. I don't know about you guys, but this is just so fascinating, the way the weather just gives you a story of everything that's happening right now, right? Like in this case, we're seeing decent sin values, nothing crazy, but I'm looking for something right now that I don't see. I might have to go to a different product. Okay, supercell composite parameter. I don't see. No. See, I don't see that. See the yellow there? See that? You see this yellow? That's the potential for power outage. Everything in the white is that supercell composite. Again, we're just watching strong storms. I don't see it as far as like anything going tornadic, but we want to watch that very closely. Okay. I actually want to also see our velocity product. This should be really good. Let's see what we have going on here. And then we're going to actually have to look at our sweeping radar, put our boxes on here, and we're probably going to want to go somewhere in South Dakota, right? Because that's where we're looking. We're like, let's see what's happening in South Dakota. We need to know, right? This stuff is in real time, guys. We got to know. We got to know. We're going to want to leave our Upton one up here. Generally, I just like to leave it. I always like having Upton. And let's just see what we have here for South Dakota. Sorry, I'm sitting on my foot. Ow. Let's do Rapid City. I don't know that Rapid City's gonna do it, but no, let's not and say we did. Ha ha ha. Let's not and say we did. Hold tight, guys. Give me a second. Aberdeen. Let's do Aberdeen. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see, where is Aberdeen? Huh, did I not put it? Okay, let's go ahead and go down one more time. Let's just check it. Okay, let's make sure. Oh, okay, I just have parameters, guys. Sorry for the silence. We're just doing some parameters. We're gonna apply it. Okay. I won't get off of it. Let me see if I can get off and then get on. Will it pull up? It's not pulling up my Aberdeen graphic. That's okay though. I'd like it to pull up my Aberdeen sweeping radar, but it's not. And we're not gonna we'll just, you know what we can do is we can just put a different radar over it. So I wanted to see, like, we were tracking some storm cells, but there maybe, see, that's okay. This is what it was. There's a storm cell that's like moving just towards Aberdeen that we're like, we just want to keep an eye on it quickly to make sure it doesn't do anything else. That's really what our goal is, to just track everything for you in real time. Let's see here. Yeah, we see. Let's zoom on into Aberdeen. Right. We see. Wow, Fort Myers still, like, you guys are still getting dumped on, and Elvira, or Fort Thompson rather, Elvira, and was it Crow Creek and Chamberlain, Marlar. You guys are definitely getting lots of weather happening here, and we want to make sure that we look to see who is getting what. Okay, local storm report. Let's get our storm reports. Okay. We want all of our storm reports. And I'm only going to do our storm reports for the past, like, few hours, maybe 12 hours. I think that's still too much, but maybe 6 hours. We'll do our 6 hours. We'll do our storm reports over the past 6 hours. Thank you guys for watching. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday and a start to your Monday, almost Monday, right? So we always say run it back Monday. We can see all the storm damage, right, being reported. Platte, South Dakota, that looks like wind damage. Landing Creek, Burke. Who was it that had, New Holland was that had the reported trees, or like tree branches, tree limbs. Joubert as well. Corsica, looks like there's a storm cell that's just passing you to the north. We also have more storms that are just trucking along through North Dakota. And honestly, this is going to be an issue for the next couple of hours. So we just have to keep an eye on it, really, because this is what we're going to be seeing as these storm cells continue to maneuver into Minnesota. That's right. You guys are next. So we've got some really good stuff. Iowa also seeing some strong storms, but we're seeing some pop-up storms. You know, nothing crazy right now in Iowa. But we're definitely going to keep an eye out for Minnesota, and we're just tracking that storm cell moving across Aberdeen, South Dakota, and those storm cells that are just pulverizing Wyoming. Look at all the damage that you guys are tracking us on our weather co-op page. All you're seeing is just like all like these reports here, tons of reports. So we have thunderstorm wind gusts, 53 mile per hour wind gusts reported, 53 mile per hour wind gusts. You know, that's pretty strong here. What does a 2 mile per hour wind feel like? You know, because sometimes you just like do this and you just take it for granted because you're just like, oh, and then I have to take, you know, I have to take like gravity into consideration, and you're just like making sure that you are going to be safe, right? So in this case, we're talking about our wind speeds and wind types, what's being reported here. So we've got like that's considered to be like a strong gale. Structural damage occurs, such as chimney covers, roofing, tile. We actually saw some reports for tiles that were blown off. Television antennas, damaged ground is littered with small twigs and broken branches. And then we go to whole gale force, storm force, and then hurricane force. This is a really strong wind gust that was reported here. Let's see what we're also seeing. 63 mile per hour wind gusts. Wow. In Elk Mountain, Carbon County, Wyoming. You've got to be kidding me. Like this is, so we're definitely seeing lots of wind damage, which is exactly what we said, right? Let's put our wind profile over that. Let's see, like seriously, Erica, are you lying to me? Nope, not lying to you. Look at this. We take a wider perspective here. Let's go back to South Dakota, right? Because that's where the action is right now. Let's just see what's happening here. We've already seen reports of tree limbs, hail, lots of reports there. And this is just for the past couple of hours. So we definitely want to keep an eye out on what's happening here. Another thunderstorm wind gust that was reported at 7:12 p.m. Wow. Central Daylight Time, and that was 83 mile per hour wind gusts in Herrick, South Dakota. So to give you some perspective, that's a hurricane force wind, severe and extensive damage. Roofs can be peeled off, windows broken, trees uprooted, small vehicles overturned, automobiles can be pushed off the highway. So we've been dealing with this for the past several minutes in South Dakota. We have been looking at all the damage, and we've been tracking these storms for the past, I don't know, maybe half hour, 40 minutes. I've been trying to get to the rest of the nation, but I mean, I really can't because it would be absolutely irresponsible of me to just move on to something else when we've got all of this happening here in South Dakota. So I just really can't leave it. I can pull off our local storm reports because we already know that we're getting these reports, right? And now you're seeing that the wind, the severe thunderstorm warnings are now they're expanding, right? So Fort Thompson, we've been watching that one. And then to the east of it, we've been seeing a strong storm cell that I was like, ooh, this guy's going to dump a lot of rain in a small amount of time. Wessington Springs, exactly what we're getting. And we're likely going to see some wind damage. So let me see here if I can get some storm tracking on this. Show you a few items that I think would be really interesting to look at. Let's see. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, okay, so okay. Are you guys watching us on our Weather Co-op page? Weather Co-op on X, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Make sure you follow and like our stuff. I mean, that always is something that will help us grow our message, which is that weather forecasting, nowcasting, backcasting is always available, and it really should be something that we can give to you guys no matter what DMA you're in. This is something, as far as Weather Co-op is concerned, we can give you a weather report anywhere in the world in real time. And right now we're seeing right over Viola, South Dakota, they're getting hammered with hail. So our Titan impact range is 2.6 to 5.0. So this is a very strong storm cell moving through really dumping a lot of water in a short amount of time. They have their severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued, and I am going to gather that they're going to have some serious damage with that will be reported, right? So now we're looking at Viola, South Dakota, or Viola, South Dakota. Thinking of Viola Davis, who I love as an actress. Oh my God, she's so good. Okay, so here, can you see that big storm cell moving right over Viola, South Dakota? And you see now how we are incorporating Wessington Springs and Alpena, South Dakota in this severe thunderstorm warning? Yeah. So now we've got to keep an eye out for all of that. Okay. It's a busy day here at Weather Co-op when it comes to our weather. It's pretty wild, right? Like, the weather just doesn't stop. That's what's so fascinating about this. This keeps you on your toes. You guys, I am always reading something. I'm always ingesting information. I'm always thinking and like deep diving into the atmosphere or into some form of physics, because the weather never stops, right? So I picked like the perfect career for me. Like, I'm never bored. I'm never bored. Like, so Hurricane Hone, we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. I'm actually about to sign off. I've been on for quite a while. So thank you so much for watching. I'm certified broadcast meteorologist Erica Martin. We're tracking those storm cells moving over Viola. Another storm cell that we just talked about, Fort Thompson. Hang tight before I sign off. We just talked about a storm cell and the potential for really strong wind damage as well as lots of rain. We were seeing rainfall rates of over 5.5 inches per hour, and now we're seeing a really strong storm cell giving us some rather large hail. Viola, you guys are getting dumped on. Please be sure that you're nice and safe. If you have friends and family in South Dakota, it looks like east central South Dakota, really. Please advise them to be alert. Aberdeen, we just talked about Aberdeen. Do you see how this is all happening? Guys, this is what we do here all day, every day at Weather Co-op, where weather meets community. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon, wonderful Sunday evening. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and get ready for a great Monday. I promise I've got you covered with all things weather. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have Jay, who's going to tell you everything about Hurricane Hone and give you all the updates for Hawaii for all of your loved ones. But we might go back on to talk about these storm cells, because these are some really strong ones moving through South Dakota. In the meantime and in between time, I hope you guys have a good one.